of the Spider Queen banned, and BlossoM is just going to go to another old favorite of the Dragonshire. So going to this draft. Let's see if Raven decides to prioritize the globals away from BlossoM. It's been the death of them so far as the out macro. Then the last fight's better team fighting from BlossoM.
I think will be if not taking the global heroes, will be very hard to take the Dragon Knight. Of course, this map is one of the harder ones. If you do not control the overall macro, overall rotations, it's really hard to take that Dragon Knight for your team. But just going into straight team comp, have that siege potential with Sergeant Hammer again, and pressuring hard on single lane and really go right into the keep. I think that's the way to go for Raven right now if they cannot just bring the same level of macro as BlossoM can do right now.
Well, this looks familiar already though. The Evala into the Zeratul, so Raven's not really changing up the draft. If they take Tahaka here, I'll still be okay with it. But it's not really their style. They're going to take the Falstad at least. I think BlossoM will go Malfury and Tahaka here. Tahaka's just so powerful on the map, and you don't want to have a Falstad where they have globals denied against you, because if they don't take Tahaka here, then Raven will ban it. So it's what we see. No surprise.
Very standard picks coming out from both teams. Over and over today, as I think BlossoM just has it straight up that this is the answer to go against Raven, have that global presence and Tahaka, even if you end up giving Falstad, as we saw in game number 1. Raven couldn't really use that full potential of Falstad, so just soaking in with Tahaka, maybe even take ETC again for themselves, would just control the entire map.
Another thing to point out in this series, by the way, I didn't talk about it too much earlier, I kind of hinted at it, but I think I've kind of done the math out now, and it's always dangerous on stream, but if Raven loses this game, they are 8th place no matter what. There is no physical way for them to actually pass BlossoM, so not enough games left in the season for them to do that. So this is, if they lose this game, they are 8th place no matter what happens in the remaining match. So that's scary to think about. BlossoM now up against the ETC Tyrael combo, which seems to be making a big comeback, as BlossoM is actually going to deny the Karazim. We saw this already in game 1 to force the Rhaegar. And this means that DeYoung will likely be on the ETC, as we saw earlier, but I'm hoping he's on the Tyrael because he looked really good on Sky Temple compared to his ETC and his Malfury, or Muradin rather. I want to know about his mouth, but
yeah, that's true. And with his Muradin, he barely survived with the Ancestral, but with ETC, he will be already beat that before Ancestral comes in within ETC. So I think that's a better option you're putting in here.
I actually like the Gul'dan ban or the Hammer ban more than the Li Ming. I was a bit surprised they weren't considering it, but they changed their minds here. This is a pretty strong ban because it's going to limit the 4-man. And they could probably, if they take the Gul'dan out here, they could probably lane swap again. I think they might just run top and hit Tahaka hard, then rotate back to the 4-man after they get that initial damage done. They executed it really well on Sky Temple.
That's right. If you control the wave clear, if you have ETC, you can make that strong rotation bottom and mid, and you also have Falstad to join the team fight later on. So taking out that wave clear potential for BlossoM, I think that is the way to go for Raven. And also taking, so for BlossoM, I think taking Sergeant Hammer so that Raven does not take Sergeant Hammer, has the pushing potential, wave clear, and very constant play with the pokes. I think that will be a very strong stealing pick also for BlossoM's side.
Tychus and Zebo, there he is. Wondering when he was going to make it into this draft. There it is. So, not even, okay, you gotta let, it's gotta be the gingerbread cookie though. Come on, don't let me down. Actually, I think my favorite Zebo skin, to be honest, I know everyone's gonna be upset I don't say it's a gingerbread one, is actually just his normal skin. I think it's the coolest, personally. Looks like a real witch doctor. A real witch doctor, not a fake one. With the gingerbread man, I'm like, you're a gingerbread man, you're not a witch doctor.
You're having too much fun with the
I am.
skins.
Well, I just watched him change it.
Raven,
So
I think they can just continue on with the Sergeant Hammer and try to complete their team comp, which they have seemed like they have practiced a lot. So
yeah,
I think just keeping it about the same, but just changing a little bit with Falstad with the global soak. I think that's the way to go for Raven right now.
could also get a strong melee and the Rhaegar as well, like a strong soul laner there. It's gonna be Lucio and the Hammer.
So some changes, but about the same. I like this draft from Raven. I think they are on to the goal, a same theme, same goal. They want to make it happen. Game 2 was close, so maybe with some changes, they want to bring the win maybe back to have a reverse sweep into the series. I love this coming out from Raven.
I think it's definitely really solid, and I think if they lane swap, it's going to be really powerful too. Let's see what BlossoM brings in as their 5th pick. They already have the double damage, so it's probably just going to be the follow-up tank. It could just be the Johanna again. She serves the same purpose in this draft as she did in the previous draft. She got good wave clear, solid initiate, can interrupt ETC. Diablo, though, which was actually banned previously, now available for BlossoM. They're going to bring it in. So a lot of CC now. That's going to punish the lane swap. If they actually commit really heavily to it, BlossoM will definitely rotate to look for a punish play. This early game is going to be really exciting, so I'm going to see how Raven wants to start things off, if they're going to go with the same lane swap or if they're going to go like one next level of meta and just not do it at all, as they have the Diablo against them. This is Raven's last life in this best of 5 here. A loss here would guarantee them 8th place at HGC Korea. They want to avoid that. They want to take their first series ever. They need to win 3 maps to do so, and they're going to have to do the first of the 3 on Dragonshire. In blue, Team Raven. Joju on Lucio, Hamlin on Falstad, in the mix on Sergeant Hammer, Dio on ETC, and HG2 on Tyrael.
In red, BlossoM, Scarlet on Malfurion, Dudu on Tychus, Wiz on Dehaka, Judy on Diablo, Nochet on Zeba.
Okay, let's see where we go at level 1. Keep close attention on Wiz. He's already heading top. Let's see if they hide Judy up there. Okay, so like they're kind of predicting the lane swap. Notice that Judy's positioning right at the top in the middle, but Raven is just not doing it. So Judy's going to come down. This is actually like super meta and super intelligent. I know we're talking about this number 7 and number 8, but the strategical thoughts that are going into this for BlossoM, just assuming, okay, I know exactly what they're going to do. I'm going to swap it. I'm going to have Judy up there to protect Wiz. If they go for a big rotation, we kill one of the squishies. We get the grab into the, or the toss into the tongue grab, pull them into the turret, get a pick, and ruin their lane swap.
That would be also good, and Malfurion's root rule perfectly. We saw some Jaehyun's perfect root, just trusting his teammate for the grab. Saw that coming out yesterday.
Ooh, Tiong in a risky situation there. Does get out, and MX doing some chunking damage.
The only problem for BlossoM would be that Raven has ETC and Lucio, so they have the rotating comp, and also they have the speed boost coming out from Lucio. So of course the rotation will be a little bit faster for Raven, so BlossoM has to catch them up. But they don't have the most quickest wave clear, so that's one of the things that they would really need to work on, as they would want to get picks with that CC chain.
You know what, we're seeing only the crossfade for speed upgrade now at level 1. It's a total change to the wall raid upgrade this week. That's a huge meta shift because it was the exact opposite beforehand. I wonder if someone's actually done like mathematical research to see if you always have your speed open, it's like just better than wall riding, like technically in terms of like speed gain.
Depends on the player. Like we saw Meriday and Swoy, and also Hyde just doing wall ride instead to harass with just the basic bot auto attack, which we call Bobo Bone because all the silent waves sounds like Bobo Bone.
Well, I like this way of playing it, but just crazy to see a massive meta shift. So everybody was doing wall riding, as you mentioned. Hyde and Meriday still are, but talked about it a little bit yesterday, and it's continuing today. Jung gets rooted here, but just no follow-up, so doesn't matter.
That's going to be the most important on Raven. Young becoming a human ward and going around the map and really letting the teammates know where Malfurion and Diablo is moving around. I think that's what they need right now, to have their laners really safely push the lane and soak up for EXP.
Alright, this is going to be a moment where they could actually force a channel. Rotating down 4-man. Wiz can hold the top easily right now with the current mana situation for Tyrael. So if they take this bot, this will be an opportunity. They can't quite grab it though. That's going to leave us neutral again. See, Wiz is just chilling out on top, wants to channel it and then go back into lane. There's so much of a strong setup in the 4-man for Raven. Even the Spider Mine's making it tough. DeYoung getting a stun here onto No Chat, but not going to matter, and this is just a really, really close early game. These two teams so evenly matched. No picks. Both teams playing very safe, mind you, as well. Okay, here's the Unleash attempt for Hamlin. No Chat is blocked out, can't get the interrupt.
Very nice, very nicely done by DeYoung. We're even using Parse Light to really not have that spider poke coming out from No Chat to stop the channeling.
In the solo lane, in the situation, hold that thought, Dudu is probably going to get picked off here. Nice body block. Joju with the boop. That's going to be a kill here on top of the Dragon Knight. In the solo lane up here in this matchup, it's a really close matchup. I feel like it's actually really hard to say who gets the advantage there, but the important thing is, and why this happened, is Wiz will be able to squat over Tyrael on the Shrine like all day, every day with Dahaka, but he doesn't have the mobility that Aldruins provides Tyrael, so Aldruins allows Tyrael to just go and say, ha, I got it for 1 second, and I can squat it for long enough to get this Dragon Knight, and that's what we saw up in the top lane. It wasn't shown, well, that's why they lost control very briefly there when they had control of the bottom. So good decision-making once again from Raven to realize they had this window of time, have Tyrael sit on there, and they get a slight lead here with this first Dragon Knight. As a result, getting the full wall in mid, and getting that pick as well onto Dudu. And they're looking to even potentially invade here with the ETC on the Siege Giants.
Also, Dudu wasn't really too far out in the lane. It's just the speed of Lucio with ETC coming in. You really have to put yourself into the wall, into the safe zone near the fort to soak up the EXP. You can't get picked like that overall. And as you mentioned, Tyrael really stands on top against Dehaka. But when the team fight happens on the bottom, that's when Dehaka can just rush tuck into the team fight where he will get the power.
Yeah, that's another thing that Doc has over Tyrael is the global presence. Judy going in on this, trying to actually link that together with the zombie wall. Will not connect though. And this game is still fairly even. The Siege Giants actually end up trading neutral in the bot. A faster rotation here from BlossoM. Actually going to leave the top lane. Tyrael's going to push that into the wall. He's going to actually go check the camp right now, so we're going to get some extra confirmation. And if he sees this, which he does, then now Raven can push even harder in the bot lane. You see NMX immediately, as he sees this rotation to the camp, sieges up and pushes because he has vision that they're at the camp and he could get a few more shots off. It's actually a really intelligent play by Raven to see this kind of move where it's like, okay, we have vision, we can get a few more shots off them, back away.
Exactly. Sergeant Hammer, if you get grabbed by Diablo just once and possibly rooted or into the donut, I think you'll be gone by that moment. So with that rotation and early picks, having that rotation work with also with the Dragon Knight, Raven is already hitting 10 before.
Okay, Widowmakers is done. Big power spike here for BlossoM. We're gonna hit 10 in just a moment. And this is a map where if the game stays this close, 1 kill only at 620, and you know, we're looking towards no forts, only a Dragon Knight getting a wall. If we go longer, Zeebo will get stacks, he will get tanky.
And look at the rotational change. That Falstad is on top instead. Now after 10, he has the gust to actually save himself from the danger zone. So now Falstad will stay top to match up with the global.
Judy actually body blocking here quite well, but unfortunately Tyrael's still there for the deny. They should be able to push him off though. Ooh, this is not good for DeYoung. Stayed way too far forward. Good sound barrier. So a heroic for heroic, a slightly better trade for Lucio over the Malfurion, and Sergeant Hammer will actually retake in the bot lane, so they're not going to be able to channel. As Wiz is still babysitting this tower, can't rotate in yet. Raven's still slightly ahead. It was a very scary moment for them, but they handled it well. Judy gonna use his charge as an escape. Their follow-up route goes down.
There's a big mosh on to one target, gets used but Sank is there to save themselves. Big APOC only gets one stun. The Gust to disengage everyone else, but Judy gets stunned in the middle and does get very low, gets taken out.
I think Judy just, that's one of those moments where you're like, oh my god, I can't believe I just did that. Because he did it right as the Gust was going, so he's like, oh, if I just waited one more second, I would not have done that. I would have not have made that choice. So that was just an accident. Accidents happen. When accidents happen in the pro scene like this, you die. So 2 deaths now for BlossoM. It looks like Raven is trying to force another Dragon Knight. They can't hold on to bot. Actually, they might be able to. It's a really close fight here. BlossoM is going to rotate in Judy now. He's respawned. They will stop the unleash. Wiz has the same mobility problem of going over the shrine instantaneously here as Dahaka versus the Falstad, so he can hold on to it for a long time, but doesn't have that mobility to just instantly port from lane right into the shrine. Takes him a lot longer to do that. These are little things and these are obvious things, right? I'm not telling you guys like heroes like most advanced techniques. It's not a Dreadnought video, but see, like you can't hold it for very long without sacrificing a lot of minions. Ooh, Hamon has the defensive Gust here.
It's a safe Gust, but it's not the longest cooldown, so they just have to be careful for the next 50 seconds themselves. They also have Joju and NMX staying safe, but here comes the 2-man gank. Goro does not dodge him, and there's a brush to save himself to join the bottom party.
Yeah, they're actually getting a lot of structural damage done down here. The Gargantuan is getting involved. But Raven will do a similar amount of damage here with his top push. Just everything that's happening in this game is a little, it's just like a little bit off, you know, in terms of responding on both sides of things. But Raven just continues to maintain a slight lead. There's like a lot of crazy rotation going on. This game is super meta. There's like a lot of counterplay going on. Oh, that was well done. Right where he put the Aldruin sword, so he couldn't get out. But he does have a second one right afterwards. We'll get away regardless, but takes a ton of damage as a result. Here comes NMX, looking for the pick here, does get it. Along with Hamlin with the flight down. The channel here for BlossoM, but definitely not going to hold that one with a pick onto Judy. Now has 2 of the 3 deaths. This is actually an opportunity for Raven to Dragon Knight. They have Gust. They can force this. There's the channel.
And Raven has now double Giant Killer to just chunk down. They don't have Tychus on their side, but they have double Giant Killer. It's going to help them really kill Diablo in the front line. And Judy has to be careful when he just steps in by himself.
Yeah, I feel like he shouldn't be charging as much as he is.
I think because he couldn't really make the big plays from the beginning of the game, he is pressured to do a little bit more as they are still a full level behind Raven.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Diablo loses power past the early game. You could use the charge defensively, as you can see here. In order now, forts and minions, Dragon Knight is actually very much being wasted. But that's what I'd like to see more of. Take these defensive engagements when the APOC is coming up and you've got the Dahaka rotation in. We're just trying to go for ganks like we're at level 4 or something when we're at level 14 is not going to be as effective, especially with Lucio for the mobility and the collapsing and the giant killer, the double giant killer that you just mentioned. All right, the Dragon Knight nearly gets the mid fort, but actually with that good defensive charge coming out from Judy, she got pinned there under minions and tower and is going to take a ton of damage. So it's over, it's expired. They're going to steal the siege cap. BlossoM doesn't have 16, and they know with the zoning tools that Raven has and that Wiz is pushing across the other side of the map, it's just not worth contesting. Better to back off. NMX is going to get the last shot on the fort. Going to take a big structural lead here. The mid fort is also very damaged from the Dragon Knight.
And it is actually not Holy Ground, it is Blade of Justice instead. They want some speed, attack speed instead.
Wiz is not going to get out of this one. Joju is here, but he didn't come from the right angle to get the boot. Diong actually gets caught. They may have overextended. Now he's taking cannon tower shots. Gust for the disengage. They will get out.
Very nice teamwork there. Perfect timing on the Gust to save Diong there. They didn't really have to use the safety, the other safety tools like the sound barrier.
All right, caps on both sides. The faster cap for BlossoM, because they were already in position. Raven had to walk all the way over there because they collapsed so hard. Onto red side. We're going to see the faster take on the siege cap. It's kind of this Merc race right now. It looks like they're not even going to go for it. They're going to go for Deong. Can he get out this time? Our side is pretty good, and he even escapes despite the fact that Twilight Dream was used. Didn't stop him from the power sliding. Had it done that, it would have been killed for sure. So now not only does he escape, but a long, long cooldown for the silence. Totally wasted. Looks like genius when it works, but when it fails, it's very painful. It'll make that next team fight a lot harder for BlossoM. Remember, the scaling coming up for Nazebo is actually getting very close. I'm not entirely sure about that APOC, but
yeah, I'm not too quite sure why that happened, but maybe due to Shuri was looking for a perfect drag into an APOC, maybe making it that into a kill. That could have been a disaster for Raven, as they really had this macro going right now, but that's a fail.
Well, that was just getting into it before that crazy engage. You know, the Nazebo scaling is starting to come into play. He has 16, which is the massive cooldown reduction on his spiders, which means that he could basically throw them every 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds. As you can see here, it really starts to stack up as long as he's in a free range to do so. And it also means he can build more Voodoo Ritual faster when he's clearing waves, which is going to be very important for when he hits 20 coming up soon. It's already getting pretty tanky. Again, the double Giant Killer is going to work against that. Wiz is actually blocked out here as he comes down. Sound Barrier and St. Use. Hamlin could go for a Gust if they need it. Doesn't look like they need to. Here's the Mosh coming in. No interrupt at all.
Yes, gets exactly on the Aka, but that's a 1-1 trade. Gust used for this engage. They almost got two. They almost got a kill onto Diablo too. See the damage of double Giant Killer coming out from Offset and Sergeant Hammer.
Yeah.
And NMX gets caught by the last chunk of Odin damage.
I think that's why they wanted to retreat there, because the Odin was active. That was the issue. If they had gone for the kill on Drew, they might have gotten it, but they would have lost more at the end of the day. Now we're going to maybe see the first Dragon Knight here for BlossoM. Scarlet does not want to squat. Ooh,
that's enough time to channel in the middle.
No one's doing it though, and they're actually going to lose this. This was kind of a wonky coordination here from BlossoM. They're going to try to get a pick on the Joju. Instead, they do get a nice grenade there. And they could get the Dragon Knight now, but
see all the spray damage coming in, as this spray and this overkill build has been really climbing up in Korea, especially after they are done with the minigun, they just spray and then follow the target and the grenade to finish.
We had confirmation that the, which is actually pretty cool that we get to know this, that HA2 mistakenly did not take Holy Ground. It was a misclick. They have, OGM Production has his comms and they can hear that, so they can actually confirm that he misclicked. It's actually really creating kind of an issue for them, as you know, we couldn't say it was a misclick earlier, but now we can say with certainty that
I don't think it's not the worst battleground, so because there are no bosses and it's not that many of camp to go by, so I think it's not the worst mistake you can do.
Yeah, I mean, attack speed is useful.
But he doesn't do that much damage, so it's okay. It's not the worst mistake. Like sometimes I can't.
It's not like you misclick Judgment. It's like, oh, okay.
Ooh,
like,
that's a misclick.
It's pretty painful.
Yeah, it is painful, but once they get to 20, maybe if he goes for the blade again, which seems to be climbing up a little bit at 20 material.
Just really about the slow. You
That's
know?
going to help later on, I think.
And if he has more attack speed with it, could be a thing.
That's right.
I think he's probably still going to go hard and shield in this case, because the longer the fight goes on.
See the attack speed, it's so fast.
Yeah, so quick. Boom, boom, boom. But with he instantly has his vial infection, by the way. With the extended damage, if he just is a second frontliner tank with a double Giant Killer that they have, I think that's going to be the way. He's actually holding it in, though, for now at 20. Actually goes for the upgraded Sanctification. Okay, that's not as common, but still quite good.
And ETC, of course, holding in that 20. You really have to watch out on that.
Yeah, might go for the Bolt Power Slide, change the game.
Or even Tor Bus, or Death Metal, anything is possible.
Yeah, ETC has the best Storm Talent variety
I love it, yes. And
like, literally every game, any of them could be viable.
And Judy also took Bolt instead. It's going to be a long game. Now Nazebo has that crazy power spike.
Interestingly, also, Falstad holding in Epic Mount might actually go for Nexus Frenzy, which would be a huge power spike, because we haven't talked about this too much, but when he has a Giant Killer,
right,
with all these tanks, the Dahaka, the Diablo, and also Nazebo is a tank now, He can do a lot of damage. He activates his Seasoned Marksman. He has the extra range and the attack speed, and he will just pop off in the battlefield. So that's absolutely a possibility. He could lock that in. Here's a big a big sanctification here with the sound barrier, but they don't get anything from it. BlossoM is going to look for the disengage.
Judy had to use the bolt to get away from that, but that's a very good trade. One only Gargantuan used against Sanct and sound barrier, so.
He also went Nova Bossa at 20, so that's why the sound barrier is a reduced cooldown. It's less effective, but he can use it more often.
And it is death metal instead. I think DeYoung was about to go down in that team fight, so he had to choose death metal right before.
This is actually just totally crazy talents we're seeing now for Raven. The Nova Boss is super rare. Okay, here comes the big fly in. He does go with the Epic Mount for this one play. Will it be worth it? The Ice Block goes down here. Scarlet decides to use Bolt to get away. Looking for the kill onto Hamlin for the counterattack. Sound barrier already used here. There's no sanctification available. Dudu survives. Now they've already locked down H82. He will go down. Dudu going to try to do the last minute dodge. Doesn't need it. Does survive. Scarlet with that beautiful bolt to get away. This is going to be a Dragon Knight for BlossoM now. There's nothing to stop it. They may get a keep from this. Remember, the scaling of Nazebo and the damage he could do at this point is insane. The Epic Mount for the flight. Looking for the deny here. It looks like they will actually just barely get it.
They only have two. Yes, they did cancel it for the time being.
Sport's gonna go down.
But the Haka is available and soon come to the top, and they will control over the Dragon Knight very soon. This is a very aggressive move by Judy. NMX is almost caught, but sound barrier pops, and Hamlin is also low.
Look at how much damage No Chat is doing here. The Mosh Pit is actually putting DeYoung stationary. Look at that spider damage. Look at how much damage DeYoung takes while he sits there. He doesn't want to ever mosh again.
There's the bolt in, and Death Metal connects in with the extra mosh, but that's not enough to take down Judy, even with the double Giant Killer and with Nexus Frenzy. That's not enough for NMX and Hamlin together.
Yeah. Okay, here's the big Epic Mount to deny this channel once again. Will actually happen, so no Unleash. It's so crazy. Even with these picks, BlossoM is just unable to get a keep, and they're even going to lose this Siege Giant cap. It's the blue side cap. It's not like they're losing their own, but still, the fact that Raven, a man down, can deny the Dragon Knight and take a cap is pretty impressive. Epic Mount not available right now, though. Looks like Wiz is going to go for the channel. Yeah, the Unleash is real, and they will finally get it at 2022. 20-minute
Dragon Knight, and luckily they still have lots of structures to go through for Raven, and they just have to wait for ETC, wait for that his trait to come back with all the auto attacks, so they can burst down ETC Diablo a little bit faster. That's all they need.
Okay. Wiz just wants to make this passive. They're going to make sure they hit it as hard as they can. Hammer with a nice dodge, actually, on the kick. But here comes the attack on the keep. They're sieging this up. Judy actually very far in the back lines. Does not want to be up at the front because he'll just eat so much extra damage from all those giant killers.
Get all the spider damages coming in now. Even No Chat has to be careful. He's actually going all the way in. That's very aggressive positioning from No Chat coming out.
Okay, big gust here. They do not want this core to be under attack. H82 has to pop the sanctification. We see a mosh pit with this. It's not ready. 15 seconds left to go. Judy is getting very, very low. Scarlet gonna have another heal in just a second here to try to keep him alive.
And No Chat's all alone by himself, but there's the big Twilight Dream to actually turn everything around. That's Judy to that.
Judy does the dash to get away and survives throughout everything there. And I think this might actually be game. Hamlin trying to do what he can. It actually gets charged into the APOC. Judy with the last kill there. It's actually going to be Tychus going down as well. So 3 dead here. Raven trying to stave this attack off. Judy's still alive, mind you. He's going to instantly respawn with his souls now that he is dead. But he's going to be less tanky than before. There's the kill onto H82. No Chat trying to heal himself up with his spiders. Look at how much damage he does to NMX. Oh, I want to see that health bar.
So
look at the top. Look at the top of the screen. Look at the top of the screen. He actually almost died.
Wow, he just went back to Hall of Storms and barely saved himself right there. The core's under attack, down to 86%. That was crazy team fight there. What a messy fight.
Well, the fact that Raven survived there is a story in its own. Okay, I mean there was a lot of overextension there by BlossoM. And Judy being so low the entire time, being saved by Scarlet over and over and over again, eventually went down, but they just weren't healthy enough to finish the core. Good defense by Raven. You could see how much damage they can do given the chance. I think that's why we see Nova Bossa coming out. There's not that much CC that they can actually heal out with, I think it's Rubigenesca. It's
one of the hardest talent to read. It's
yeah.
One of the longest ones.
Well, he didn't go for his level 20 cleanse that's on a super short cooldown. He went for the cooldown reduction and also effectiveness duration reduction on Sound Barrier, which is going to give more protection for shields for these heroes that are doing massive amounts of damage to the Falstad and the Sergeant Hammer.
Now we just saw the aggressive positioning coming out from the Zebo, and if HG2 had that holy ground, could have been actually into the front line with the team instead of the back line of the entire BlossoM, and maybe just stall out Nochat as he was in the front line alone, trying to do some damage. Maybe he can use that holy ground to isolate him and take Nazebo down from the beginning of the fight. I think that could have been the way to go, but without that holy ground, I think it's really costing Raven big right now.
It definitely is. The Mosh Pit is available. Death Metal, of course, as well. I thought Dion was actually trying to suicide for a big Death Metal there. Did actually back off and get healed up. It's all about Nochat right now. He is the star. Dudu doing what he can as well onto Dion here. Look at that. Look at that damage. The Nochat is all alone just ripping through them. As the Siege Giant push is finally pushed back. This top push is going to kill the top 4, but it doesn't really matter. The top is never really a game-ending path in this game, and yes, it's going to put them on even scaling, but only briefly, as BlossoM will get 24 soon. We're dead even now for this moment, though, in terms of the level scaling. Here we go, committing everything onto Judy. Actually charges in here. There's the Sound Barrier coming out. He bolts away. There's a gust. Will it save HG2? It will, because he sanks. Well, that is a big cooldown now for them that they do not have available. The Silence, the APOC, it's all still ready, and Nochat is still doing damage. I mean, oh my god. The Zebo. Dion is going to go down here, those spiders, if he stays here. There's the Silence, a burrow to help Dahaka get away. Nochat just continuing to fling the spiders over and over and over. That level 16 cooldown reduction. NMX is going to go down to it.
They are so low.
Joju actually gets the Sound Barrier.
Barely. Make them survive. And there's the Odin coming out from the side that's going to pick up all the kills. Look at the spider damage, and there's the last one. Judy coming in from the side to pick up 4th kill. That's going to be core for sure. BlossoM.
That's core for sure. BlossoM having another tough, just like the second game, having a tough third game here to close out the series, but they will take it 3-0. This will knock Raven into permanent 8th place in HGC Korea, as HG2 will add one more death to his KDA as we are going to close this one out. Dragonshire is won by BlossoM. A game of wonky talents, really interesting team fights. I wouldn't go as far as to call it a Cloud Fiesta, but we were getting close there at the end. But Judy, really impressive Diablo play, making it look like a real strong frontliner there in those in-game team fights.
BlossoM really had it coming with Nochat's aggressive, which also not having the holy ground.